Hello, I'm DeDe, and I'm here to bring you 30 minutes of traditional yoga poses where we're going to focus our attention from the waist down. So hip, leg, ankle, foot, focus. We're going to do this so we can build greater strength, greater stability, as well as balance. You'll need a yoga mat if you're on a hard floor like I am. If you're on carpet, you might not need the yoga mat, but it is nice to have the non-slip properties of a yoga mat. You'll also need some water for hydration. You won't need your shoes and socks. You'll need some space around you that's free of obstacles. And you'll need to always give yourself permission to only do what feels right and then to skip something if it doesn't feel good. You can also substitute something else. One of my options is always a good idea, or something that you feel is more appropriate for you. Just keep it safe. So let's come to the center of our yoga mat if you're using one. Otherwise, just come to the center of your space. We're facing one another here. Our feet are underneath our hip joints, and our toes are open and they drop down. We're going to soften the knees a tiny bit and make the pelvis level. Draw your ears back over your shoulders, and your shoulders are over your hips. Now let's take the arms down to our sides and we'll swivel the arms around from the shoulder so we turn the palms forward and the inner elbows forward as well. Now closing your eyes here, if at all possible, helps you to go inside better. And then we'll start to breathe through our nose. Start to pay attention to what you're feeling as you stand here. Even though you're standing still, you should still be able to feel your body. It's active, it's actively holding you in this position. You should be able to feel the breath. It is also active. One way to almost guarantee that you'll be staying in the present moment, which is what we want to try and do during our yoga practice especially, is to pay attention to the breath. So if you're paying attention to your inhale or your current exhale, that's happening right here, right now. So if you're paying attention to it, you're paying attention to right now. See if you can draw the air down a little lower on your inhale. And then see if you can prolong your exhale just a tiny bit. Don't over-exaggerate that. So no matter where you came from before you stepped onto your mat or into your space, no matter where that was, no matter what was happening, be right here, right now. Let's focus on our body right now from the waist down. Think about your hips. There's probably a slight contraction there to hold your pelvis level all the way around. Think about your legs. Think about activating your leg muscles by drawing the kneecaps up the fronts of your thighs. Feel how that activates your legs in a different way than just simply standing. And then also think about spreading your toes out and letting them rest lightly on whatever you're standing on. All right, and then let your eyes open if they're not already open. Let's take our hands together in front of our heart. And then we'll inhale. Your elbows can stay bent. Let's sweep the arms up. Press your palms together. As you exhale, hands in front of the heart. And we'll repeat. So we're still holding on to that active from the waist down situation. Lifting your kneecaps up the fronts of your thighs. Can you feel that happening? Activating your toes. They're still down, but they're actively stretching out away from one another. Can you feel that happening? If you can't feel it happening, maybe you could take a look at it happening. If your elbow's going to go a little straighter without any pain or strain, let that happen. Otherwise, you'll keep your elbows bent when you get to the top up here. Now this time we inhale, and on the exhale, we press the pelvis back. We keep the back straight, like we're getting ready to sit down. It doesn't have to be very low, but then we change our mind. And when you're ready to inhale, we stand back up, and then we sit. So I like for you to be able to see all the details. So I'm just going to turn a little bit. You don't have to turn. The neck and the back are staying in one neutral line. And the shoulders are away from the ears. Our heels are heavier temporarily right there than our toes. But then the weight comes back toward the toes a little bit. So this is chair pose, one version of it. So we're already into the leg effort. Can you feel the leg effort in chair pose? Maybe you feel it through your back as well. Let's make sure that our knees are tracking in the same direction as the center of our feet. In other words, not here, not here. All right, now this time, chair pose, but with hands on the thighs. And then we'll stay here, shoulders away from ears. Lift your tailbone up a little bit as you inhale. Tuck your tailbone under a little bit as you exhale. Do it again. Where do you feel that? You feel anything in your low back as you do this? You should feel a little bit of motion there, a little bit of extension, and as you drop the tailbone down, a little bit of flexion. Just through the lower back, that's where we want to create the motion, through the pelvis, the lower back. Last one. And then come back to neutral. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Now, let's take the hands to the hips and we'll do some alternating tiptoes. So right foot, tiptoes and down. Left foot, tiptoes and down. So this is a little bit about balance here because we're taking away some of our base of support by going up on the tiptoes. But it's not as much about balance as it would be if we were going up on both sets of tiptoes. I want you to also notice that there's a toe stretch that's going on the foot where you're lifting your heel. Do you feel that? I can feel that. Now let's try both heels. You can keep your hands on your hips at first. Just a little lift with the heels and down. What about a bigger lift if you feel comfortable doing it that way? If you need to hold on to a sturdy chair or a wall or a countertop, make sure that you do. You always want to feel comfortable and safe. Even if it means you're walking over to another part of your space to do it, and then you're coming back after you're done, that's okay. Let's add some arms, thumbs up, elbows bent. Let's inhale here, and then exhale. So focusing on our feet, and our ankles, and our calves with this move. A little bit of shoulders, and some balance. Think about what you're creating right now. Think about your breath, and stay in the present moment. One more. All right, come on down. Now balance in a different way. Let's lift one knee up, doesn't have to be very high, and then bring it down, and the other knee, and then bring it down. Now how about if we bring the opposite hand around to touch the knee, and then switch. How about if we bring the arm around and down and we exhale? Inhale there and then keep in mind if you're on a yoga mat that sometimes stepping off of the yoga mat is a little less cushy and springy, and therefore it's a little easier to balance. Now, can we take the opposite arm back behind? If you don't want to do that, if it doesn't feel right, if it feels like too much challenge, then it is too much challenge. Even if it's only that for today. It's important to honor what our body's telling us, and if it's telling us something is too much, then we should listen. So now we're getting kind of a swimming arms thing going on. And we have one more. And then both arms and both feet come down. Now if you're on a mat, or even if you're not, let's turn this way. And then inhale, sweep the arms up. On the exhale, here's that chair pose again. Push your hips back and then hands on your thighs. Inhale. On the exhale, let's come all the way down. Now take your foot that's furthest away from me and step it way back. Now we'll inhale here. This is a low lunge. You can be on fingertips or knuckles. Exhale, allow your front leg to straighten a little bit. And then we'll do it again. So try to keep your hands in that one spot. Straighten a little bit. Two more. If you can't get your hands down at all, some yoga blocks or some hardback books right here, those will help you. Yoga blocks are a really nice accessory for your practice. All right, now soften your front knee and we'll step the back foot forward. And then we'll switch. So your foot that's closest to me is now stepping way, way, way back. Make sure your front knee is over your ankle for your low lunge. Fingertips or knuckles, inhale, and then a little bit of straightness, exhale. Really go with how this feels. Once you're in the correct alignment, don't worry about how straight your leg goes. Just think about how straight you can make it and still have it feel appropriate for you. All right, now we're moving into downward facing dog. So we have to flatten out our palms for this, and then we'll step both feet back, and here we are, like the letter V upside down. Alternate pressing one heel at a time downward, and feel the stretch through your legs. Maybe your calves, your feet, maybe your ankles, maybe your hips, all the areas that we're thinking about in this session. And of course, the arms are working to press so we can get more weight into our legs. All right, now we press one heel down, doesn't matter which one, and we stay here, we keep breathing. And then switch. And then we press both heels down evenly. Now, if you need your knees bent here in order to get your tailbone up, go ahead and bend your knees. That's okay. Now, you're going to take your foot that's furthest away from me, and you're going to step it forward. Now, what we'll do is we'll step it forward, and then we'll take our hand behind our ankle, and we'll step the rest of the way up. Ideally, you want your ankle in line with your wrists. And then we'll stay on the tiptoes of the back foot, and we'll slowly keep our balance and come up. All right, and then we'll inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, the arms come down, bend both knees. And then we'll do that again. So keeping your eyes on a steady point, that helps you with balance. Doesn't matter how low you go, you just go as low as you feel comfortable going. Front knee doesn't go beyond the ankle. All right, and then we're in the down position, so let's stay here. And then we'll take the arms to the up position, either with the elbows bent or with the elbows straighter. And then we'll try to go a little lower if we can. All the while we're breathing, staying in the present moment. And then if you can go just a tiny bit lower and still feel like you're doing the right thing, go ahead and do that. So that's how we're building some intensity. And then the arms come down. Keep your balance now. Turn to face me. Your feet are down. Let's go the other way. Turning around, staying on your railroad track with your feet. Let's come up on the tiptoes of the rear foot. All right, inhale the arms up and exhale them down. Go with your breath now. Now we'll stay in the down position, and then we'll take our arms to the up position. Remember that you always have the option not to bring your arms up. So if it's better for your arms to be down, then keep them down, that's okay. Otherwise, let them go up. Now, if you can drop down a little bit lower, go ahead and do that. How about a little bit lower still? Can you do that? The time that we're in this position, plus the fact that we're trying to drop a little lower, that's how we're creating more intensity. And then release your arms. Come on up. Let's face one another. Let's turn the toes out now, about 45 degrees. Your feet are wide. Keep your balance. Let's inhale. Hands in front of your heart. Exhale. Press back with your hips and press your knees outward. And we'll do that again. So don't let them collapse in like this. Press them outward. You go down to the depth that's suitable for you. And this time, we'll stay here. Relax the shoulders. Now, as you stay here, keep pressing outward with your knees. Can you drop a little bit lower? See how it feels. Shoulder blades down into your back. Can you go a little bit lower? All right, and then we'll release the arms and we'll come to a straighter position. Now watch. Turn your left toes in, your right toes out. Turn your kneecap so it's facing toward the center of your foot, and then bend your right knee, go as low as you can, tip your pelvis over, and then rest your right hand on your thigh, and your left arm goes up here, and it can be bent. Or if you feel comfortable, we can go a little lower, maybe a little straighter. And then if you feel like it's right, you can bend your right knee more to go a little lower. And then maybe you rest your forearm on your thigh. But just know that you have to keep your waist long on both sides, especially this underside of your waist. And the top arm does not have to be straight. It can be bent. You don't have to look up, but you can. You can look toward me, forward, or down. How is your knee? Is it in line with your ankle? Try to make sure. And then let's release the top arm down. Push with your right foot to come up. Ooh, feel the strength that we're building. Now turn your right toes in. Your left toes turn out. Turn your kneecap. Bend. Tip your pelvis over. Rest your hand. And then take your top arm up. Start here. This is the side angle pose. So we want to make sure we maintain our angle and we don't turn it into like a curvy shape. Keep the straighter lines. Now can you drop a little lower into your supporting arm? Maybe you go a little straighter with your top arm. Keep breathing. You should feel your heart rate rising a little bit maybe. Now can you bend your left knee more and still keep your waist long on both sides? And then maybe you drop down onto your forearm, keeping the underside of your waist long. Maybe you straighten your top arm a bit, maybe you don't. Just enjoy what you feel like you can do here in this moment. No judgment. Just feeling and doing the right thing for our bodies. And then release the top arm. Let's push with the left foot. Woo. and then we'll turn forward. Now we need to bring our feet in, so you can heel toe them like this if you want. Mountain pose, right back where we started. Hands in front of the heart. Both shoulders are down. Eyes can be open or closed. This is a great time to grab a drink of water if you need one. All right, now let's do a standing iliotibial band or IT band stretch. Take your left foot, cross it across so your shins are crossed over one another. Keep your front knee bent, but keep your back knee straight. Square your hips to the front. Then we have our left hand here, and our right arm goes up and over. Push your hips out to the right. Do you feel the stretch maybe from your waist, maybe all the way down into these IT bands that we have here? This one surface area feels like a band. All right, and then we're coming up and we're switching. So step out. This time it's the right foot that crosses in front. We square the hips. Front knee is bent, back knee is not bent, and we go over this way. Push your hips to the left. Now, if your top arm is forward, see if you can pull your top arm further back. And then we're coming up. Step your feet out. We're going to lace the fingers behind the back, or you can put your little fingers here against the sides of your hips. Either way, I'm going to do the lacing behind the back version. So I'll show you from the side. So hands here or hands here. Everybody will do that, pulling the shoulder blades back. And then if you're here, draw your elbows further back. And if you're here, see if you can lift your arms away from your body without elevating or rounding through your upper back or shoulders. All right, now let's release. I want you to bring one heel out in front of you this way, flex your foot, bend both of your knees a little bit, and then push your hips back. Now on your standing leg, I want you to rest your hands. And then here's where we really switch into the hamstring stretch. Pull your tailbone away from your heel on the stretching side. And then we'll hinge up and we'll switch. So step in, step forward with your heel, bend both your knees, push your hips back, and support with your hands on your standing leg. Pull your tailbone away from your heel. Make sure your shoulders are not up by your jaw. All right, and then we're helping ourselves back up to standing. Shake out your arms, shake out your leg and your other leg. Roll your shoulders up and back and down. And one more time. We'll pull 4 fingers back on one hand. Ooh, feel the palm stretch, maybe wrist and maybe forearm stretch here too. That feels nice. and then switch. And then release that. 2 more shoulder rolls, up and back, and down, and 1 more time. All right. So how do you feel? You feel like you've challenged your lower body from the waist down, your hips, your legs, your calves, your ankles, your feet? I sure do. Our lower body goes a long way for keeping us active in our everyday life tasks like walking, standing, sitting, getting in and out of the car. So we have to keep them strong and mobile. So as usual, thanks for joining me, and until next time, be well.